Hey, what's up, guys? It's TheRedHeadGamer. Anyway, Brother Justin recently revealed a lot of the lore, and he's still doing it right now, so we'll obviously have update videos to this, but here's some of the big questions that a lot of people have been wondering about that have finally been answered. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. By the way, if you guys like last year content, feel free to subscribe below, and also in my description I have a link to my Twitch channel, TheRedHeadGamer, as well. Pretty much the same username everywhere except Instagram, because apparently somebody decided to take it on Instagram. But if you guys love last year content, feel free to give me a follow and a subscribe, guys. I'd appreciate it. But anyway, on to the real news here now. As you guys remember, in one of the dev streams, they revealed that the classmates all got stuck in the nightmare via a game, and that one of the classmates had played a card which got them all stuck there in the first place. And at first, I thought it was Sam, simply due to her character seemingly being a bit klutzy and scared and nervous, but according to Brother Justin, it was actually Nick. According to Justin, Nick found an old card in an old tome from Bellman's secret library, and that's also how they knew about the library and how to escape it. Justin also went on to explain that the nightmare is the realm of fear personified, and it's designed to force the classmates to evolve by facing their fears. So, for example, each of the fiends are actually the classmates' fear personified and exaggerated. Chad, for example, has arachnophobia, so the spider is Chad's personal fiend. The strangler is Sam's. Amber is the slasher. And Nyx is the giant. And this could open up a whole bunch of other lore that we don't know about yet as to why they have these fears, for example. In my personal opinion, I think that Amber and Sam may have had a bad run-in with a bum and the school janitor. I think perhaps maybe the janitor in the real world stalks Amber because, you know, she's like the pretty preppy type. And, you know, because of that, she has this personal fear that he might do something to her one day, and that's why he shows up in the nightmare as the slasher. The strangler could just be like a very aggressive bum that scared Sam one day, because she kind of seems like the nervous type, so maybe while she was walking home one day, she could have got approached by the guy, or what have you. And the giant is just a really big buff guy, but according to Brother Justin, he's a criminal. So at first, I always thought that the giant was supposed to encompass the personification of the gym teacher. You know, that would make sense for Nick since he's a nerd. Maybe Nick just hates his gym teacher and the guy makes him feel bad. But it actually came to me not too long ago that perhaps because the giant is a criminal, what if the giant is a personification of Nick's father? You know, his abusive father, who basically used to beat him and put him down all the time and is now in prison. And Nick actually has this fear that his father could come back one day and basically just, you know, abuse him or do something horrible like he may have done in the past. That opens up a whole bunch of things right there. Also, Brother Justin went on to say that the father, as in the new fiend coming out, is actually not a personification of fear. He's actually a human being who was just like the classmates at one time and came into the nightmare but managed to face his fears. But instead of growing from it, decided to stay in the nightmare and harness its powers for his own gain. So now he travels through space and time, causing chaos and destruction because he can, with the powers he's gained from mastering the nightmare. And he also, for some reason, has a very strange obsession with Troy, which means that he either wants to destroy Troy for being the leader of the group and trying to get everybody out, or perhaps Troy is the one who taught them how to harness the power of the nightmare, and the father is upset with Troy because of the fact that they're not using it for nefarious purposes. Or in my like little fan fiction of a world I guess I'm making up in my head, because the father's an evil priest, I usually kind of, you know, relate priests to conversion and preaching. And maybe that's just my Age of Empires 2 player inside of me from all those years ago. But I think that the father is trying to convert Troy to his cause because he sees potential in Troy to become like his apprentice or student or what have you. So that's like a possibility of things that could happen in the future. Also, we found out that Troy and Raj are currently best friends. However, Brother Justin says that there is someone else in the real world who is more important to Raj, but they're not important to the story just yet, which obviously means that we're going to be getting some new classmates in the future as more and more people get sucked into the nightmare somehow. And it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out. Also, we've figured out that the game that the classmates played is a turn-based card game, a lot like Magic the Gathering. And also Bellman, which is mentioned briefly in the library cinematic, is the principal of the school and a collector of the card game. He's also a historian fascinated by the occult, and he apparently has a secret society going for all things occult. And he's been trying to get into the nightmare for years, but since his motivations are off, he just hasn't been able to do it. So obviously there's some requirements to get into the nightmare. And from the sounds of it, this isn't exactly confirmed, but from what I've been able to gather, I believe that means that obviously you can't be seeking the power the nightmare has in order to get into it, or else Bellman probably would have got into it a long time ago. I mean, let's be honest, if he had the card in an old tome, why didn't he just go in there himself? Maybe he was afraid to do it, or maybe there's something going on that we don't know about, or just like I said, perhaps there is a requirement that they all need to get before they can even enter. And I'm going to go and say it was, you can't seek the power of the nightmare, basically, because obviously the man's obsessed with the occult. He knows what's inside, and I doubt these classmates really knew what exactly they were getting themselves into, especially when Nick played that card. Also, on a final note, Mystic Ore doesn't really have a lore reason at the moment, but he says they'll find a way to fit it into the lore. So there you had it, guys. That's basically your whole gist of last year lore. Anyway, if you guys like the gameplay you've seen, you like the lore videos, you like everything else that's basically come about, feel free, once again, to subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, and I'll definitely be making a lot more last year content in the future. Until then, have a good day. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys all in the nightmare. Until then, peace out, my friends. Have a good one.